Welcome to what some are calling the brink of World War III. Okay, let's unpack this. We're diving deep into the rapidly escalating tensions in the South China Sea. It's an area, well, it truly lives up to its description as one of the most complex geopolitical chessboards in the world. Our mission today really is to cut through the noise, to understand the high stakes, the deep historical roots, and exactly what's happening on the water that has global powers on edge. We've taken a detailed look at recent events and the crucial historical context that transforms this vibrant maritime region into a potential flashpoint.
And what really stands out, I think, in our sources is how directly these current actions are challenging long-standing alliances and, international norms. This isn't just about who owns a few rocks or reefs. It's a fundamental test, a test of the regional power balance. And it holds the potential for a ripple effect that could genuinely reshape global dynamics. We'll be exploring why this particular area is so incredibly strategic, both economically, think vital shipping lanes, rich resources, and militarily, commanding crucial passages. And of course, we'll look at the starkly differing perspectives at play from all sides.
Right, and we're seeing this significant, frankly alarming increase in China's naval presence there, especially near waters claimed by the Philippines. This isn't just like a show of force, is it? It feels like a direct, deliberate test of the United States' commitment to its oldest ally in Asia, the Philippines. But what precisely does this heightened pressure signify right now, particularly after what our sources are calling numerous internal fragilities for Beijing?
That's a crucial point. It makes you ask, why this aggressive posture and why now? Sources indicate that following a recent internal political scandal, something that brought embarrassment to the Chinese government, this outward display of strength, it serves two purposes. It's a powerful reaffirmation of their expansive territorial claims, and it's also a strategic probe. If you connect this to the bigger picture, the geopolitical landscape, it's designed to test the resolve of Washington's defense treaties in Asia. It's assessing exactly how far they're willing to go to uphold their word, protect their allies. The key takeaway here: Beijing isn't just asserting claims, they're actively probing the limits of the existing order, the alliances.
And to really get the weight of these challenges today, we need to understand that historical bedrock you mentioned, the U.S.-Philippines alliance. Our sources take us back. August 1951. The signing of a mutual defense treaty between the Philippines and the U.S. This wasn't just some casual agreement, right? It was born out of profound historical trauma. Japan's brutal 3.5-year occupation during World War II, a period marked by, well, horrific atrocities. Enslavement, imprisonment, murder of hundreds of thousands.
Exactly. That context is absolutely critical. The Philippines had just gained independence in '46. The Cold War was ramping up fast.
Yes.
So Manila approached Washington. They were deeply concerned about being dragged into proxy conflicts, like the one unfolding in Korea. The treaty, the name says it all. Mutual Defense Treaty. It's an authentic military alliance. That means it's a legally binding pact. An armed attack on one obligates the other to step in. And this foundational pact, forged in shared history and strategic need, that's precisely what Beijing is now directly challenging out there in the South China Sea.
So with that pact in mind, how does Beijing's sweeping claim nearly the entire South China Sea, how does that clash with these agreements? Beijing asserts sovereignty over this huge area defined by its 9-dash line. It covers almost everything. And this region is undeniably critical. Trade, massive economic potential fishing grounds, oil, gas reserves, and military positioning too. Access control over vital shipping lanes. But these vast claims, they just collide directly with those of neighboring countries. The Philippines, obviously, but also Vietnam, Malaysia, Brunei.
Yeah, and that's where international law really comes into focus, a critical detail here. An international tribunal in 2016, it explicitly rejected Beijing's claims, ruled them inconsistent with UNCLOS, the UN Convention on the Law of the Sea. That's the agreement defining rights and responsibilities on the oceans. But China, they've never accepted that decision. They just disregard it completely. And that creates this significant legal diplomatic vacuum. International law is clear, but a major power is actively choosing to operate outside it. Since 2023, Manila has been explicitly strengthening its resistance within its own 200 nautical mile exclusive economic zone. That's that area where a country has special rights over marine resources, a key marker of sovereignty. The key insight: we're seeing a major power directly challenge the foundations of maritime law. It's almost might makes right territory.
Wow. Okay, we're about 2 minutes into this deep dive, and the tension is, well, it's palpable, right? If you're finding this as compelling as we are, please take just a second to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It really does help us bring you more of these in-depth explorations, and we genuinely love to know, why do you watch these deep dives? What keeps you coming back for more? Let us know down in the comments. Yeah, back to it. This heightened resistance from the Philippines, it's already led to direct dangerous confrontations. It's fueling fears that a more serious incident could trigger that mutual defense treaty with the U.S. Our sources detail a really alarming incident from August 2025. A Filipino supply ship, just on a routine mission, finds itself pursued relentlessly by two Chinese warships. And the situation escalated dramatically. The Chinese vessels deliberately tried to hit the Filipino ship. It ended in a collision. Serious damage to one of the Chinese ships.
Right, and zooming out, this situation is incredibly delicate for Washington, a huge challenge, particularly as, President Trump's attention is already stretched thin, crises in Eastern Europe, the Middle East. So this new front of tension in the South China Sea, it presents a complex, difficult strategic problem. An insufficient response, or even a perceived weak one, could severely undermine the trust of Asian allies and America's promise of protection. And the U.S. has unequivocally reaffirmed its treaty with the Philippines, stated clearly it covers armed attacks on their forces, vessels, aircraft, anywhere in the South China Sea. This position was, painfully reinforced by incidents like one in June 2024. Filipino sailors severely injured. It really underscores the human cost of these escalations. The crucial takeaway, I think, is that the U.S. is trying to project strength, uphold commitments, but it's walking a tightrope. Deter aggression without provoking all-out conflict.
And one particular flashpoint, this tiny speck of land, has become a sort of microcosm of the whole conflict. The Second Thomas Shoal. Since 1999, the Philippines has kept a deliberately beached ship there, the BRP Sierra Madre, this rusty, aging vessel. It's more than just a ship. It acts as a critical outpost, symbolizing UNO's control over the shoal. China, though, considers its presence illegal, repeatedly demands its removal immediately.
And what's truly remarkable here, I find, is the continuous sort of low-level conflict around the resupply missions to that Sierra Madre garrison. Chinese Coast Guard boats, maritime militia, they frequently intercept these supply runs, often using powerful water cannons. Now, these might look somewhat harmless from a distance, but they are incredibly dangerous. They deliver water jets at extreme pressure, strong enough to shatter boat windows, damage equipment, and critically cause serious physical harm. Our sources confirm dozens of Filipinos have been injured, some severely, in these encounters. Yet despite this constant threat, this provocation, Manila has carefully avoided direct military escalation. It's a deliberate path of strategic restraint, trying to prevent a full-blown armed conflict. But it raises a really important question. How long can that restraint hold?
And in response to these escalating, increasingly aggressive actions, the United States has visibly beefed up its military presence there. In recent months, they've deployed advanced missile systems to the northern Philippines, including specialized anti-surface vessel missiles. So missiles specifically designed to take out enemy ships. And these boast very long ranges, capable of covering almost the entire South China Sea. They're strategically positioned near sensitive points, like the Luzon Strait, that's just kilometers from Taiwan. That strait is a critical choke point, controlling maritime traffic between the Pacific and the South China Sea. Hugely significant militarily and for trade.
Well, what that means in a military emergency is those missiles could effectively neutralize Chinese naval threats across practically the entire region, potentially shut down crucial maritime access. The Pentagon's been very vocal, emphasizing the solidity of its alliance with Manila, labeling China's actions quite clearly as aggressive, destabilizing. However, analysts are quick to warn. American attention is fragmented right now. You've got the peace negotiations in Ukraine, the crisis in Gaza. There's a risk here. This creates a potential window, an opportunity for Beijing to perhaps interpret President Trump's fragmented focus as a chance to advance further on disputed areas without provoking an immediate, overwhelming U.S. response. The larger implication. Beijing is watching global events very keenly, looking for any perceived weakness, any distraction in Washington.
And experts are highlighting that significant risk. That China might believe it can pressure the Philippines right to the limit, maybe even try to conquer or seize more territory, as long as it's careful. Careful not to directly force the U.S. to intervene militarily. The government of President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., while firm on claims, has also been notably cautious.
Right. And following the most recent, most dangerous incidents, President Marcos Jr. made a very sobering declaration. He stated that only the deliberate death of Filipino citizens in these confrontations would mark a point of no return. That, he asserted, would compel the full activation of the Mutual Defense Treaty with the United States, which immediately makes us ask, what would that look like? I mean, if an encounter between Chinese and Filipino ships, like the one that almost happened recently with casualties, if that results in the death of a Filipino citizen due to Chinese aggression, well, then the military alliance is activated. That would legally obligate the American Navy to intervene directly in favor of the Philippines against China. It's a very clear red line that's been drawn, and it raises the stakes dramatically for any future incident out there.
So, wrapping this up, What does it all mean for us? The South China Sea truly remains one of the most complex, volatile, geopolitical chessboards globally. Between the calculated shows of force, these dangerous maritime incidents, the constant presence of military vessels, aircraft from multiple nations, this region could very easily, very rapidly transform into a new, dangerous point of confrontation between superpowers.
Yeah, the core question really remains, how far is Beijing ultimately willing to risk direct confrontation? And how ready is Washington to react? This isn't just some local dispute. It's a vital barometer for global stability. It impacts everything, trade routes, the future of alliances. Understanding these intricate dynamics is absolutely crucial for anyone trying to make sense of our interconnected and, yeah, increasingly tense world.
Absolutely. If you found this deep dive valuable, thought-provoking, please make sure you hit that like button. And subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on future insights. We really would love to hear from you. Tell us, where are you watching from today? Or maybe, what was the most striking thing you learned from this deep dive into the South China Sea? Let us know in the comments below. And if you're ready to explore even more about these critical global tensions, what could happen next? Go ahead and click the image appearing on the right side of your screen right now. You can watch another video delving into the Third World War. We'll see you there.